right, guys. For those of you tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to the live stream. If you can see us and if you can hear us, go ahead and drop a comment for us, please, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to give it a quick check. I'm going to turn this down because of feedback. I see that we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're hopping on from LinkedIn, show us some love. Say hello. Say where y'all chiming in from.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're hopping on, ah, there she is. Hey, Valencia.
Hey, Valencia, welcome.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Awesome stuff, y'all. I want to go ahead and kick this off. I would like to keep, of course, we like to keep time in perspective. That's just the way we do it here. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hopping on to this live stream. We got so much responses on this. It was crazy. Gosh. North Carolina in the house.
Yep.
North Carolina in the house. Well, y'all, again, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, we have a special guest on here. That's Donald Ray Freeman. But before we bring Donald Ray on, Gerald, share a little bit about our I know we get like a lot of different followers and stuff coming into our platforms like literally on a daily basis. So share a little bit about what our mission is and what we're planning on accomplishing tonight.
Yeah, so pretty much, for one, great Wednesday to everyone. Hope all is well. And for you all that may be new to hopping on to this weekly live stream we do, I'm actually Gerald Bass, the founder of the Rise of the 1%. Alongside me in terms of hosting these live streams is Chief Operating Officer of the Rise of the 1%, Charliette Cummings. And pretty much our mission is primarily to impact the Black community, impact Black entrepreneurs, specifically, of course, coaches, consultants, those that have online courses, even service-based businesses. So we primarily focus in on working with Black entrepreneurs to equip them with the strategies, tools, and resources to dominate and get into the top 1% of your industry. And we're on a mission to create $1 billion of success stories. And so, in terms of us being on that march to creating those $1 billion success stories, what we like to do, even outside of working with our clients that we work with the Rise of the 1%, we like to as well for the general public bring on some of the brightest minds when it comes to entrepreneurship, business, and making an impact out here. And so this evening, we actually have Mr. Donald Ray Freeman on. And what I like to do is tell y'all a little bit about Mr. Freeman. So D. Ray Freeman started launching businesses in the mid-90s from his hometown, Fort Worth, Texas. With 20 years work experience, continuous learning, and a relentless passion for growth, Freeman climbed the corporate ladder to become an advisor to senior executives at more than a dozen Fortune 100 companies. He's a published author, a husband for over 25 years, and currently works as a business advisor to women and minority business owners, serving clients in the US, Canada, Australia, Europe, and the Caribbean. With that said, I want to welcome once again Mr. Donald Ray Freeman to this
Hey,
evening's live stream and the Rise of the 1% podcast.
thank you very
Absolutely.
much, Gerald. Thank
Welcome.
you. I appreciate that. Thanks for
Welcome.
the introduction.
Yes, no problem, no problem. Definitely glad to have you on. So, what we can start, Donald, pretty much is just tell us a little bit more in reference to like where it all started from, or you can talk a little bit about your upbringing, and we can go from there.
Sure. Well, again, thanks for having me on and just giving me a platform to be able to speak. I appreciate that. Um,
No
me,
problem.
I'm a kid from Fort Worth, Texas. I grew up in the funk, as we would say,
Mhm.
and went to high school there. And as I got a little bit older and started going to college, I went out to Weatherford College in West Texas. And during those summers and it just in between time while I was in school there, and as I moved on, I wanted to have a business. I wanted to do something different. I didn't quite know what. So I was always starting little businesses and just little things I could do. But somewhere in the mid 90s, I learned about computers. I think I had bought one and took it apart and learned about it.
Mm.
And I started taking some classes independently. And I got some certifications, learned about technology, and it really helped me to see things differently. Like I could understand that by 1998, Windows 95 was obsolete. So I was
Mhm.
going to have to continuously learn and upgrade that knowledge over and over. It wasn't going to be good enough to just stay in one place. So I had a skill. I learned about computers, and I started going to car dealerships. And those are familiar with that area in Arlington and Fort Worth. There's a
I
street
am.
called Division Street that has a lot of car dealerships on either side of the road, and it leads right up to AT&T Stadium where it is now. And back in the 90s, I used to go door to door to these car dealerships because I knew that if they can't print or they can't get to pull credit reports, they can't sell cars.
Mm.
And I knew how to fix it if they were offline. And I ended up getting contracts and getting work. And I ended up finding somebody that had 10 car dealerships like that. And he's like, you work on all of my car dealerships now. So I had an account, and I started growing.
Wow.
And I needed more people to work with me. So a couple of friends of mine from school, we started a computer school in the fellowship hall of this church on the south side of Fort Worth.
Mm.
And we used to teach people classes of how to get Microsoft certified and network certified. And so I was building my own base of people to work for my company. Now, mind you, I'm also a college student.
Mm.
And so I'm starting to make some money. Things are going different. And I had a decision. Do I stay in school and try to learn how to work in technology, or I have a technology gig over here where I'm hiring people and I'm working and I'm building. So I didn't stay. I left
Mm.
and I joined the corporate world really early when a lot of my peers were either going to the military or going to college full time. I joined the work world and just started thriving from there.
Mm.
And I haven't turned back since. And I mean,
Mm.
that's kind of my early beginnings from there. And with that experience, it started to become more of, this person is worth more than someone with a degree because I had done the work before. I had touched the tools before. I had implemented the software before. And I was able to get jobs at other people who were way more qualified than I was.
Mm.
And I could land the job and I
Mm.
Oh
could
wow.
demand the higher income because I knew how to do the work.
Mm.
Hmm.
So it put me above people who had more credentials than I did, but just allowed me to establish myself as now I'm someone with experience. I'm not someone that you can look at my credentials and say, this is why I'm qualified. I'm qualified because I've done a good job at these other places and people say I do a good job and they vouch for me and I can do the same thing at the next place. And that's kind of my start of how I got into this in the first place, of even just having this mentality of excellence in business or personal delivery to try to get to a higher point in my life. You know, so
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You've had an interesting journey thus far in the beginning stages. Yeah. I was actually having a conversation with my family yesterday and one of my friends about I'm actually glad that I started making money in the entertainment business. That's the business I was in while I was in college.
hmm
At the end of my college career, because if I would have had been in the entertainment business making money in the beginning stages, like I was at the end of my college career, I don't know if I would have continued in college as well. Right. So I was hearing how you say pretty much you was like, hey, I just want to go on and jump into this career field and instead of continuing on in terms of education in terms of college. But you still was able to get into the corporate world in terms of job space because of your experience and you actually know how to do great on
Yeah.
the job.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And just through those years, I changed jobs all the time. I go work here for a few months, there for a few months or a year. I took
Mm-hmm.
contract work, and it just kept leading me up into higher points of technology. And then that turned into project management, and that turned into people management
Mm-hmm.
and strategy management. It just kept elevating over and over. You fast forward a few years of working for different banks and insurance companies. I found myself working for one of the largest airlines in the world at the time. So American is doing their merger with U.S. Airways, and
Mm-hmm.
I was working there with a lot of really great people that challenged me a lot. And I hadn't been in that kind of environment before, where people were, challenging me as a leader, and making me be better as an example for other people who are now reporting to me. If I'm now a people manager, I'm now a process manager. I had to be, I had to change the way I thought about work and about myself. Of what value do I provide that people will want to emulate and be more like what I am demonstrating.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that I work with, they really coached me and taught me a lot about being a leader and just driving that passion and excellence forward. And from there, I looked into management consulting, which would be the next level of that. And so in management consulting, it's more of how do you help business owners decide what things are necessary to do or not to do, to prioritize or not to prioritize. And it's taking advice from someone that they may not have taken advice from before. A lot of people don't know that executives, all executives have a team of advisors who give them information on what moves to make.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that they come up with great moves on their own. There's some people in the background that are helping to propel that. And some of those positions, they put me in the seat where I'm amongst the other executives or the executive coaches that are providing that advisory to those executives so they can go out and have talking points and the proper messaging of the way it's supposed to be demonstrated to the public. So it put me into those positions. And I had a downfall during that time. We had a tremendous loss in our family when I lost my brother to he was a soldier in the military, decorated really well, but from coming back from the military, had a lot of challenges that caused him to take his own life in 2013. And you can't imagine what your family goes through and what you go through when something like that happens. And I really needed a way to pull myself out of depression and just all the things that come along with that. And at work, we used to use this thing called Agile. And Agile was just a methodology of prioritizing what's important to do and what gives immediate value, and deprioritizing things that are not so important for right now, maybe for later. So I took that mindset and applied it to myself and my own situation. Like how can I prioritize doing the things that need to be done on a daily basis? And those who have dealt with the depression before, that sometimes you don't feel like getting up at all. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to leave the house. And when you're dealing with that, sometimes you need to kind of remind yourself or prompt yourself to just get up and do things and not just lay there and cry and sulk or be sad. And so what I used to do is I used to write myself these little notes. and they're still all over my house. These little sticky notes, and
Mhm.
similar to at work, you put up the note of what things that you want to accomplish for the day, and as they're in progress, you move them over, and as they're done, you move them over again to done. It's Kanban board to call it in business. So I
Mhm.
was applying the same thing to myself. I'd write a note so simple like, get out of bed, brush your teeth, take a shower, take a walk today, and it gives you a feeling of accomplishment when you're able to check off something on a list. There's a little bit of dopamine that your brain gets when you check something off. So whenever I would do something, I would check it off, I feel a little bit better. And I check it off and I feel a little bit better. And then I brought my wife into it, and we started doing that together. We started planning together, and we started applying it to different parts of our lives. So how can we apply this collaboration, this planning, this responding to change and thinking differently mentality that's in Agile to everything that we do? And it was working. It was getting me out of this funk. It was getting my career in a better direction. My relationship, everything was in a better place because we were following things that were, prioritized and not deprioritized, things that we didn't need to pay attention to. And I wrote about it. I wrote about how we did it, what I was doing differently, and I published that book in 2014, a year later. And from that publishing and being able to go out and do speaking engagements and work with organizations, it put me at a different level that I had been at before. I wasn't just in technology and doing project management. Now I had a story, and I was able to motivate people and apply what was then a very valuable methodology to help people understand it and implement it on a more personal way. And they call it Agile adoption in the industry. So I was able to teach people how to adopt an Agile mindset personally in their own personal lives. And that really took off. And I rode Agile all the way up to the top as further organizations were looking to implement that mindset. And it's really a startup mindset. It's like, how do you take a big company and take 7 to 9 people and give them a mission, a goal, some things that they prioritize and they do on a regular basis, and deprioritize things that don't matter, so you're not just churning, and create progress differently, even in a big company. And I was an expert at that. I could find a group of people, give them a framework, and help them get to the top. And there for a while, I became known as someone who is an expert in the Agile industry. And it led me to higher and higher levels of implementation and management consulting, all the way to where I'm partnering with one of the big 4 consulting firms. And they're flying me first class from where I live to New York or to Chicago, and putting me at top hotels, and black cars picking me up and taking me to the places. I'm going to the 50th floor. I'd get to these executive boardrooms, and I'm unique when I get in the room. Like, I'm very unique. There's nobody else in the room that looks like me.
Of course.
And of course. And sometimes sometimes that's a great benefit, and I wouldn't shy away from it. I would always I would accentuate it even more. Since I know I'm different, and I'm coming from LA, mind you, I was living in LA at the time. I'd wear a suit and a red pair of Jordans, and so or some KDs or something, or I'd have my hat, and anybody from Fort Worth, how we wear our hats in Texas, flat brim, and it's pulled down cocked to the side just a little bit, and so I'm different when I get there, and when sometimes it works in my favor. They see me and say, "Oh, he's different. He's going to bring something different here." And then other times they say, "He's going to bring something different here."
Yeah.
So I just learned how to navigate in those environments, and how to make my voice heard and relevant. A lot of times when you're in those situations, people may have had a black person work for them before. Yes, I've had black people to work for me before, but they've never had a black person to work with them
Oh.
or to advise them. It's different. It's
Yeah.
different when you have to ask me for my advice versus telling me what to do or giving me assignments.
Right.
Right.
It's hard. It's harder for people who've never had to do that before, and they may have some preconceptions about people like me or stereotypes that they have, whatever, unconscious bias.
Yeah.
So learning to, I think the greatest skill I learned to implement during this time was my voice, and to speak up for myself. And when I'm in those settings, I always had to make sure that they understand who I am and what value I bring to the table, and be vocal about it. If you're a dude wearing red Jordan, you can't be quiet and sitting in the back of the room because you're weird.
Yeah.
You're like, that dude's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
But if you're
Funny.
vocal and you adding value, you're like, oh, he's different.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's been my claim, man. Just try to be. I'm trying to be different. I've tried to put myself in positions where I can show what I can do on a regular basis, and that's kind of what led me to, part of where I'm at today.
Huge, huge, huge. Okay.
That
Well,
is
you all that might
crazy.
just chiming in, we're actually live with Mr. Donald Ray Freeman. And if you get anything out of what Mr. Freeman has shared thus far, definitely feel free to drop takeaways down in the comment section. If you have any questions as well, you can drop them in the comment section. And make sure as well, y'all hit that like, love button, and feel free to share this around with anyone else you feel could benefit as well. Definitely make sure you do that. So let's talk a little bit about this, Mr. Freeman. So you actually work with some startups in terms of global oil and gas and tech and financial service organizations as well?
Yeah, when it comes to startups, I was always doing startups myself back in the day, and I work with startups today, but a lot of my middle career was working with big multinational companies, big oil and gas companies, big banks that have hundreds of locations, airlines, and I was bringing value to those companies, and I know I was bringing value because the amount that they pay for a high-level consultant to be on site is ridiculous. The company I was working for, I mean, they would charge up to $3,000 a day for me to be on site, and I would be there for months at a time.
Oh, wow.
So at any time, that client, if they feel like they're not getting value, you got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always was cognizant that I had to contribute a little bit more because I can't slack. If I slack and I'm different, I'm gone fast.
Yeah.
I saw other people get dismissed and let go. So, oh, we're not getting value out of that person, so we're gonna let them go. But I was able to stay, and not only stay, but to grow the account and to hire more people and build my team and to grow it there. So, having that experience and being successful in growing someone else's business to that level, seeing that organization, making $1 million a month in revenue and more, you're like, why am I not doing this for my own people or for other people who are smaller businesses that don't have $3,000 a day for me or someone like me to be there all the time? Like, how can I take that experience that I have of transforming big companies and translate it into startups and small businesses? I live here in Las Vegas now. So within the past year, we've moved to Las Vegas, and I've started doing just that. I've become a business advisor with SCORE, and it's the through the SBA, Small Business Administration,
Mhm.
and I'm also working with a minority business development agency that helps, um, as the name implies, minorities to develop businesses. And there's a
Mhm.
lot of state and government funds and resources that are available to people. So I've changed from working with just the large multinationals to working with smaller companies. And Gerald, one of my favorite stories about this is I can remember working for the airline and a team that
Mm-hmm.
I was working with. We implemented a new technology that allowed them to make brand new revenue in a new channel. And it's selling seats or whatever the airline tries to sell to people to make money.
Mhm.
We generated over $109 million in revenue
Mhm.
in less than a year. And I remember, as congratulations, I got an email from the senior executive of the of AA or whatever, and
Mhm.
she said there was a bright spot on the balance sheet this month, and thanks for that bright spot on the balance sheet.
Mhm.
And I remember, oh my god,
What?
oh my
What?
god.
Really?
What,
Wow.
Like,
what
wait a
the
minute. There's a bright spot on the balance sheet, 109 million. Like, if I could have that kind
heck?
of impact on a small business or a startup, it had to be 109 million. But if they could make that kind of a growth, man, that's life changing. That
Right.
is that rise of the 1%.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of a
Absolutely.
turning point for me. Like, this $100 million is small change to them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But $1 million would be huge change for any individual that I know
Mhm.
from my past, or in my family, and probably some of your families too, would really love to have a
Right.
$1 million business.
Right.
And
Right.
so that's
Crazy.
really where I wanted to change my focus from. Let's not help the rich get richer. Let's see if there's a way
Mm.
to bring up people who are not
Yeah.
rich today.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It is. It is. And talk about this. Ms. Freeman, what are some of the differences you see with? I'm just curious to know, like, with working with the bigger companies versus the smaller companies. Like, what are some of the differences you see there?
Mm.
Being you've worked on both sides.
Um, the challenges are the same, and it's people
Hmm.
challenges that exist on both
Mm.
ends. Whether
Hmm.
you're over 1,000 people in your organization or just over two in your organization, the owner, the leader, is always worried about their people, and especially when you've built something that you're proud of, and you're proud of how it works. You have that pride of ownership in what you've put
Hmm.
together, and then you hire somebody to work for you, and you want them to have that same pride of ownership that you have. You want them to work with that same passion that you have,
Hmm.
and you can't guarantee that that's going to happen. But you hope that you provided enough employee incentives, that you've been a good boss, and you've been a nice person, you have generous salary. You hope that everything is working well, but you just don't know, and it's hard
Right.
to know. And a lot of executives or business owners, whether you are of a big organization or a small one, they have trouble sleeping at night, or they think about this during their day: is how are my people, and is my business delivering what I set out for it to deliver? And making sure that happens, that's kind of a sweet spot that I have. Is like, how do you help people to become part of the team, or to feel ownership in, or pride of ownership in the type of work that they're doing, and to make decisions fast. Like, if something's not working, then deal with it quickly, and that's on both ends. As an employee, if the job is not working, get up out of there. Don't stay there and make the
Right.
environment suck for
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the same thing
You're
on the
right.
employer side. If somebody is there that's not doing well, don't let that fester. Get them up out
Right.
of there, or that cancer will infect the rest of your employees, the rest of your organization. So that's one of the things I help business leaders do today. Sometimes it's just making that tough call that, you know what, you know, your brother-in-law got to go. I know he's good, you like him, but that dude is
Yeah,
not working.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Once again, for you all that are chiming in, we're sitting with Mr. Donald Ray Freeman. And if you are viewing this right at this moment, like I say, feel free to drop any comments, essentially anything that you may be getting out of the conversation this evening. Freeman just dropped some gems on here.
Yeah, he did.
So make sure you hit that like and love button, and you can also share this with anyone else you feel could benefit as well.
So Donna, I actually have a question. So for the people that are gonna be listening to this live stream and those who are business owners as well, and they're looking to work with the larger organizations, what advice would you have like for them, especially when it comes to like minority entrepreneurs, such as black entrepreneurs, etc.? What advice would you have for them?
mm. Um, it's pick your target that you
Okay.
want to work with. Um, here recently, somebody gave me a quote that I've been using a lot, and it's "Don't try to boil the ocean."
Mm.
Like it's much easier. You don't have to generate that much heat to boil a cup of water. And a lot of people are trying to generate so much heat, they're trying to boil the ocean. And if you shorten that pool a little bit smaller to who your target ideal customer is, and you have more of a laser focus on those particular customers, it changes your trajectory of where you're headed. It's kind of that same agile approach. Like most business owners I talk to, they got 1,000 ideas and they want to
Mm.
execute 999 of them. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, let's stick to one or maybe three tops. Like I would
Mm-hmm.
narrow it down and make that type of focus. So that's one. So find your focus of who your ideal customer is and what it is that they're looking for. And when I double click into that some more, the second thing is to um, understand your customer's needs. And so once you've identified them and you shortlisted them, what is it that they need? What is it that they are buying? What is it that they are using? What is it that they have a budget for? Like,
Mm.
sometimes we're trying to create a customer from somebody who doesn't have a budget. But when you really look at it, whatever type of business that you provide, whatever service you provide, somebody has a budget for that service. So you need to
Yeah.
figure out, do you fit into that budget? Do you satisfy the needs that they have, and not just the requirements of what they're asking for, but are you their favorite? Are you their emotional choice? Because a lot of times people do
Mm.
business with
Okay.
who they like and who they want to do business with, uh, versus others. I've seen where even in contracts, in private or in government contracts, where they're working in tandem with businesses and developing the RFP specifically for those businesses to apply to it. So if
Mm.
you know who your customer is, you strategically found your customer, you're working with them. Sometimes that synergy is just there, and those RFPs, those requests for proposals, are almost written for a small group, including yourself. So it still has to go out to public bid, of course, but it may just go to a smaller pool. So find those pools, target those customers, get that one cup hot, and don't try to boil the ocean.
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah.
Makes total sense.
I tell potential clients that all the time is focus on being a specialist over a generalist and focus in, like you said, on a specific market. I was saying I can help any and everybody.
Right.
When in
As
reality,
people
you're
say,
not.
like, who's your product for? Oh, it's for everybody.
Right.
No, it's
Exactly.
no, it's not.
Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Donna,
Okay.
I have another one too as well. Share a little bit about what type of strategies that you use that actually have that type of confidence when you were in those rooms and still now. Because I know that you said in the beginning stages you were set up against like a lot of people that was, of course, several levels above you, but you're actually making decisions for them, and you're coming in as, almost as outsourced, but yet they still have to listen to you. What type of advice would you have on that perspective as far as like building up their confidence and really becoming an authority figure
Mm,
for these brand new people that don't even really know you until you came on board?
mm, mm. You have to have now my number one advice, the biggest thing that I've learned from all these different experiences is having a structured approach or
Okay.
structured thinking. When you lay out things in a structured way, and it's shown that you understand the you understand the process of how it should work. It's different from when you're just kind of rambling or giving more information that is necessary. So having a structured approach, an easy one, and one of the best ways that I found to set the tone is how you introduce yourself. And I made a video a while back. It's called "How to Introduce Yourself Like a Boss in Under 7 Minutes."
Oh, I'm
And
gonna check it out.
so
Yeah.
in this video, I talk about when you're in the room, and I see this. You be in the room, and there's a conference room. So there's 10, 15 people sitting around a conference room. And one of the first things that they usually do in these rooms is let's go around and have everybody introduce themselves and tell a little bit about yourself. And
Mm.
at some point, it's going to come around to you, and all eyes, all information is going to be coming from you going to everybody. So when all eyes are on you, what do you say? How do you say it? Having a structured approach is going to make all the difference. My name is D. Ray Freeman. I have experience with, when you have experience with. Today, I'm here because, like, why are you even here today? Like, that needs to be part of your structured approach. Because people need to know what value you bring to the room. And when I didn't do that, when I was younger and junior in my career, I would just sit in the room, and when it comes to me, my name is Ray. I'm a coach here. Next, and they go around to the next person. They don't know what I do.
But
They don't know nothing
Yeah.
about me. Just I'm somebody that's in the room, and I've actually had people, Charliette, that in major companies that at the end of the meeting they go to my boss or somebody and say, who is that? Who is this? Who is this guy? Why is he here? And
Mm.
it would be because of the way I introduced myself or demonstrated my value. And especially when you're a third party, you're a consultant coming in, and these are employees. They may have been with this company for a long time, and here you come,
right.
and they're like, I know what we pay consultants. I know what he's making, and he gonna sit here and all he say he's a coach and move around. No, so I would be under scrutiny, and you have to assume that you are under scrutiny when you sit in those rooms, and especially when that microphone comes over to you. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What have you done before? And why are you here today? And do it with gratitude. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. And my name is Ray. I have experience with agile methodology and transformation and change. Today I'm here to offer advisory and coaching on how we can implement this new technology. And thanks for having me. Next.
Mm.
Now you know
Okay.
more about it, and if there's a question that comes up, you know who's the expert in the room. So I advise
Gotcha.
that for everybody to do
Yeah.
that. Otherwise, I'm just the black dude wearing Jordans sitting there.
Yeah.
That is so funny. I hope y'all took note of that. I hope y'all took note of that. I hope y'all took note of that, man. That was good. That was so good. I hope y'all took note.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay. So I would say, Donald, is there anything else that you would want to share that we didn't necessarily ask you on this live stream and on this podcast episode with the audience?
Sure. The only thing extra I'd like to share is just that, when you are different, when you're the only black person in the room, the only woman in the room, the only gay or lesbian person in the room, or whatever, if you're the only one there, you cannot expect better treatment or different treatment than other employees or other workers who are there. Meaning nobody's going to give you a pass and say, well, it's all right. He don't do that much, but I don't expect much. Nobody's going to give you a pass. And
Yeah.
I'd never expected somebody to give me a pass. And, I've had to not only deal with bias or prejudice, of course, in climbing this ladder going up, but I had to deal with my own bias, my own prejudice. I mean, it's been, times where someone has, made a comment or something that I thought was out of line, but they may have just been waking up. I've had somebody that said, wow, you're really smart. I know other black people, but I've never met anyone that's smart like you.
Oh
I
my.
was shaking my head like,
Wow.
my goodness. And
Yeah.
on one end, I'm from the funk, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you
Right.
have
Do I want to get hood or what?
it. But on the other end, I'm like, you know what? He's just waking up.
Right.
He's just getting up just now, and I'm the only black person he knows. I represent 50% of his black experience. The other 50% is on TV or on the internet.
Yeah.
And so, okay, maybe his mind is changing just a little bit. And so his expectations from black people has just ticked up just a little bit because of that.
Right.
So what I would say to people, when you are the only one in the room, show up, show out, and look good. And if people do have those biases, and if somebody is biased against all black people or all women or all LGBTQ2 plus QIA, then change it with your own attitude or your own delivery or what you do. Change that attitude, because they're like, you know what? I didn't like black people, but that Ray, boy, he's all right. Boy, I tell you, he's something.
Yeah.
He's something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's
Yeah.
too funny.
So be that example that that changes the stereotypical thoughts that someone may have or the biases that they've once had, because they may not know anybody else. They may not have any other examples of positive or strong black women. They've never met one before. So you have to be that one. Or strong black men. They never met one before. So now I'm in the room. All right, I'll be that one.
Yep.
Let's
love
do it.
I love it.
So that's my advice. Just if you're going to be that one, be that one.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. I actually was part of a mastermind where, for a long time in the mastermind that I was in, it was other entrepreneurs, business owners, some of them doing very well in business, built real big businesses, but I was the only black in it for a long time. What that made me do was say, you know what, I got to show up with confidence. Not only that, the different things that I'm learning in this mastermind and things of that nature, I got to take real big action, go out and get some major results, and show them what we can do, represent, right?
Facts.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely agree with you on that. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Great stuff, great stuff. It's been a great conversation, though. Mr. D. Ray Freeman.
Facts.
And like I said, for you all that are chiming in, or if you're coming back and watch the replay, feel free to drop any of your biggest takeaways in the comment section or any other questions you have. Make sure you hit the like button, love button, share this around with anyone else you feel can benefit. And as well, Mr. D. Ray Freeman, if you can, you can share where they can find you, or if they want to reach out, connect with you, what have you.
Sure, sure. Well, LinkedIn, I'm just, LinkedIn, and D. Ray Freeman is my LinkedIn handle. And, besides my work with, other organizations, I also have my own private company called Small Biz Agile. That's small biz, B-I-Z, agile.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so mainly I'm a business coach or advisor. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking those skills that I learned from Big Four consulting and from working with big customers, big companies, and translating that to small business owners, and helping them to create their $100 million.
There you go.
And
Amen.
not just be a bright spot on their balance sheet, because
Right,
maybe
just a
one of
little.
them will call
Oh, this is just a little sparkle. No, this is life changing here.
I'm telling you. Love it,
I,
'cause it's
I
not
I
like
owe you my life. Literally, this is life changing to get this $1 million. Do you hear me? Yes.
yeah, great stuff, great stuff. Okay. Well, with that said, like I said, it was a great conversation. We definitely appreciate you again, D. Ray Freeman, coming on, sharing this great information, valuable insights. I got some out of it myself as well, and I'm pretty sure those that are chimed in and listen to this replay will do the same thing. So, like I said, we thank you again, and until next time, you all that are chimed in, you all definitely have a phenomenal one on purpose.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.